and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you so much, Superintendent.
Yes, sir.
Item number 3, audience of any citizen. The Florida Gateway College Board of Trustees will hear any citizen who wishes to address our board on a one-time basis pertaining to a relevant topic. If the board wishes to hear more about that topic, the topic will be scheduled for a future board meeting. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes, and the time dedicated to this topic will not exceed 20 minutes. And I don't think we have anybody or anything this evening. Our next item is approval of the board minutes dated November 18th, 2021. That's item Roman numeral 4. You've had the board minutes before you now for many days. Board members, do we have any questions or any items that need to be brought to our attention from the former board minutes that we need to make an adjustment to?
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Ms. Catherine makes a motion to accept the minutes as printed. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Let's just noticed everybody turn off your cell phone if you have not already. Who made the second?
I did.
Thank you. All in favor of that, members of the board, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So, all right. And we have with us our student government representative who does a great job presenting and representing student government. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Guys. Alrighty. For the first 2 days, Student Government Association welcome back the students and staff. We had free lunch for the first 2 days, and we also assisted students if they needed help going to and from classes as well. Student government is now starting to plan for the spring semester. We are now prepping for our Black History Month activities. We are partnering with Travis George. He is the Director of Multicultural Affairs here at FGC, and we plan to host a wide variety of activities for that day. That will be on the 1st and the 23rd. We can't wait to tell you guys about the activities in our February meeting that we're going to do, and that will be all. Is there any questions or concerns for today? No? All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Short and sweet, just the way we like it. Okay. Item Roman numeral 6 is presentation of the consent agenda. And as always, the items on the consent agenda are routine business items, state directives, and/or compliance items. All items have been reviewed by our board attorney and have been available to the board for its examination for an appropriate period of time. Any trustee can request a topic to be removed from the consent agenda and discussed further. We're glad to. Typographical errors be noted and corrected in the board minutes. Is there any item that is listed in the consent agenda, on the consent agenda, that any board member would like to pull out and consider separately? That's your pleasure. If there are none, can we entertain a motion for the approval of these minutes?
I so move.
Mrs. Allen, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have our moving second by Mrs. McGinnis. All in favor of that motion, second, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The same sign, the motion's carried. Thank you. Item Roman numeral 7, we're going to have a presentation from Academic Affairs.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, we've had several exciting things going on in academic affairs. First off, our anatomy and physiology faculty, they just received a syndaver. That's like a synthetic cadaver, which actually simulates the feel and touch of muscles, bones, tendons, the tongue, like everything within the body underneath your skin. And Matt and I, we went and played around with it, and it was pretty cool. We were very, very excited with that. And they've named it Betty. It's a female. And we are one of 2 colleges in the state that has this. So we're very excited about that. CDL is starting their 2nd class next week, and they have 16 students enrolled and ready to go. This is a first come, first served basis for students that meet that entrance requirements. So we already have 5 people on the wait list for the summer class that have met those requirements, but they weren't in time. So third, open auditions for the Crucible will take place January 18th and 19th next week. This fictionalized story of Salem witch trials will be performed in March on the 10th through the 13th. More news to come with that. It's going to be, we're inviting the high schools and their drama clubs, and it's going to be pretty exciting, but more news to follow with that. FGC is hosting the NAQT sectional tournament on Friday the 21st and Saturday, January the 22nd. Currently, there are 6 teams from around the state that are slated to complete. This tournament serves as a qualifier for the national tournament. So hopefully we'll have some good news out of that one. Some of our bachelor's degree programs are really kind of booming in enrollment than usual, especially in our education department. We have 73 enrolled for the spring semester in early childhood, and 35 students enrolled for elementary education. And more exciting news, a former FGC student, Amy Cleese, that's now at UF, has been named 2022 Rhodes Scholar, and she will be going over to Europe to study in England. She's going to be a dual major, and we're pretty proud of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the next 2 to 3 weeks, faculty will be receiving their laptops. We've ordered laptops through, I believe it's CARES Act money that's paid for these laptops. IT is finalizing that rollout plan, and we're going to be meeting next week to discuss the elements of this rollout plan for faculty. And then lastly, we got a little good news so far out of the nursing department. When we look at our December graduates taking their exams, for the EMT, 16 out of the 17 students that took their certifications, 16 out of 17 passed, which is a 94% pass rate. 6 still need to test. For paramedics, 7 out of the 8 passed the exam, and all of them have already tested, so we had an 87.5% pass rate. LPN, we have 8 students that tested, 10 still need to test, but out of those 8, we have a 100% completion rate, or passing rate. And for the RNs, 4 out of the 4 that tested also passed. So we still have 19 of those to test, but we're excited. Good news so far.
Very good. A quick question. What is the max class size for the CDL?
16.
So, okay, very good.
I have a question on the CDL program too. So I know there's a lot, we read every day about the need for truck drivers, and so there's a lot of private schools, and they charge really exorbitant tuition for something like that. So, someone coming to our CDL program, what would they typically end up spending? What kind of investment do they make for that program?
For this cohort, 0. It's completely paid for. And the ones that have applied for this cohort that met all the requirements but didn't meet the timing have been guaranteed a scholarship for the for the summer session. So they will be completely paid for. After that, I'm not exactly sure.
About 3,100.
Yeah.
What a great story, though.
Great story.
And I know that a lot of the trucking companies are also underwriting students, because they, I don't know what kind of commitment that student come out and to work for that company or whatnot, but
We're trying,
Great
well, we had
investment.
quite a bit of, student turnout.
Good.
It was, so we're really excited about that.
It's a critical need area for our
Yes,
nation
yes.
right now.
Agreed.
And then just one more tracking figure for us. So do you have any information on what the placement rate is for the different categories of people who have passed the various tests between the LPN, between the EMT? I mean, how many of those after testing either, have a job lined up or start, or maybe in place and upgraded to the next level? Do you have any of that data?
I don't have that data, but I can get it, but I'm pretty sure it's very high. I mean, I know there's a huge demand out there for all 4 of those.
Right.
And so I'm pretty sure it's very close to 100.
That would be great. Again, another great story to tell because a lot of them, the companies are underwriting it. There's all kinds of grants and scholarshiping available for those roles. And so people going back to school to do those things, the investment that they make is going to pay off almost immediately.
Yeah, agreed. I know John Jewett's daughter, she got her BSN. She's immediately making more money than her mother, who's a teacher for 30-some years. So it's definitely very lucrative.
The CDL, I think, is going to really keep climbing in students because Florida Gateway sent 3 people over, and we met at the Putnam Lodge and with a lot of the loggers and that needed their CDL license, and a lot of companies was represented there. So, and they were excited that Florida Gateway was doing this. So.
Any others?
I do. And a friend kind of does that. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Gavin. We appreciate it. And Mr. Cardenas, Enrollment Management and Student Affairs.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. As usual, I'd like to start with an enrollment update. As of today, we have 2,620 students registered for classes, 22,744 credit hours. Just puts us a little bit under 7% down year over year. State average is right around the 10%, 11% mark right now across the state for spring enrollment. We are still in the first week of classes. So this is still the add drop period for all of our students. Enrollment is still fluid. Just today, we registered 43 new students that we didn't have at 8:30 in the morning. I expect this to continue through tomorrow, probably all the way up to 4:35 p.m. Students changing classes, taking different classes online, in person, so we'll see a lot of movement. Our advising office is extremely busy. We're seeing about 75 to 80 students a day over the last week. So from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., we've been booked. There's more to the story, too, of course, with enrollment. Our largest declines that we're seeing right now are programs that had the State Workforce Development Fund supporting them. So the rapid credentialing last year. Phlebotomy, we were down 50 students in phlebotomy. We can't continue to put 50 students in phlebotomy every single year into the local workforce, but that did give us a big boost in students and headcount we didn't have last year. The firefighter programs are down 23 year over year. That was the second rapid credentialing program. We're also still seeing a deficit in corrections. We had 80 students last year. We're at 0 right now. We are working with the State Department of Corrections. There's talk of a class coming in this spring and more classes coming in this summer. So we're trying to get as much information as we can around that that'll kind of chip away at that number. Second Chance Pell. We have 65 Second Chance Pell students that will be entering the program this year, this spring. They are not in our enrollment numbers today. The state closed several prisons over the last 6 months. That became the priority for the Department of Corrections. Second Chance Pell was moved down. The Second Chance Pell program is very, very complex in terms of establishing residency. How do we test these students? How do we get their FAFSAs completed? It's so much more complicated because of their circumstances. We are in the testing phase of their enrollment process. We expect these students to be in within the next 2 weeks and start in what we call our B12 session. So they'll be taking their first set of classes will be 12 weeks instead of 16. So everything is moving forward there. But that'll be 65 new students that'll be entering into our head count for the spring. Also, as we mentioned before, the CDL program, the 16 students in CDL have also not been registered for classes yet. Those 16 students will be also entering our numbers coming up. We're down 256 students overall, but when we're looking at 80 down in corrections, hopefully chipping away at that number, adding the additional 65, adding the additional 16, we're going to chip away and get closer and closer to where we were a year ago. So we will also be advertising, promoting, and marketing our mini-mesters, B12, B8, all of those, A12, A8, all of those programs for the rest of the semester to get students in to classes. They're just going to be shorter. So we'll continue to work on that on the enrollment side. I know that's a long explanation. I'm looking for every single area that I can find students, where we're missing students and where we can get more students. So our staff has done a wonderful job. They've been working as hard as they can, both on the recruitment side and on the advising side and enrolling and registering.
Can you help me maybe a little bit with the dynamics of the corrections? And I know that maybe Mr. Jewett, he may be a little more plugged in on that. It's its own animal. What I understand from Baker County, we just had our institution, closed down, and all of the officers, inmates, for the most part, I understand, were moved over to Columbia. And what we understood in our community was that was as a result of not enough officers, people not going into corrections. Do you know if that is a fact? If it's a fact, do you know what the dynamics are associated with that? Why that's happening right now?
Yeah, I'm not.
I can answer that. There's a new Secretary of Corrections. Secretary Inish left, and there's a new Secretary of Corrections for the state. Each of them come in with a different idea of so forth. Because they were having a recruitment problem, they're actually just taking them off the streets, quite frankly, and putting them into the Department of Corrections if anybody wants a job there. In order to get their bonus and so forth, they have to get formalized training, but right now they have, my understanding locally, about 13% of the workforce hasn't been trained in that, so there's going to be a big influx. But the issue then becomes each year, and this is I've learned over the last few years, remember I don't have the history what happened here in 2008, but that devastated this institution too. But the issue is each secretary and each administration comes in with a different idea of what their training would be. Some of them train their own. Some of them then they feel that they can do it cheaper, better, faster. And then other times there's administration that thinks the colleges can do it. So my understanding is there'll be, in this area, probably about 500 to 600 trainees within the next 2 years after talking to the new secretary when we went to second chance graduation. But the thing is, he would not give me a commitment of how they were going to do that. So I mean, it's a kind of a challenge with that. But the other issue is there are some issues about the populations of the inmates too. The state of Florida has 102,000 inmates last year. I think it's down. It's declining because of certain laws and releases and so forth. So that's a flexible issue that's going on too with that. And I can't address. I don't have that. Sure. But that's a challenge too.
There's a couple of dynamics working. So there is the potential that we may have increased numbers.
And our program, I think, to train them, how much does it cost, Michelle? I think it's like $1,900. It's around that. It costs us $14,000, but I know that number, but I don't know how much they pay. So I just know that's. So it's about $1,900, which is, I think, a very reasonable process. So.
Thank you so much.
In addition, on the enrollment side too, we have certified the enrollment for 43 military veterans and their dependents, which is exactly the same amount that we had last year. So that number has not decreased. So that was nice to see in the enrollment report. Residence Life, we had move-in day for the spring 2022 semester last Saturday, January 8th. We have 30 students living on campus this spring. Amy Deacle and Cleon Wilson coordinated a very successful and safe move-in day. Athletics update. we have 6 student athletes that achieved a 4.0 GPA this last fall 2021 semester. Taria Lyles, Aaliyah Montgomery, who was just here, Kylie Berry, James Jimenez, Damian Edwards, and Ethan Touchton all had a 4.0, and those are volleyball players and esports athletes. So we're excited about that. We have hired a new women's flag football coach. Ricky Huffy has accepted the position as head coach of the college's brand new women's flag football team. He has 11 years of experience coaching flag football at multiple high schools in Leon and Suwannee counties. He is a graduate of FSU and helped start the university's club flag football team. And we have a very big men's basketball game tonight in the Howard Center. Everyone invited, 7 p.m. against Pasco Hernando. Huge rivals to go on to the tournament. So I believe this is our first or second game against them. We play a series against them every year. So that should be an exciting one for us. And finally, I would like to thank Trustee McGinnis for inviting FGC to the Lumber Industry Appreciation Luncheon down in Dixie last month. We were given the opportunity to present the new CDL program in front of all of the big players in the lumber industry. The trip was very successful. New connections were made. On a side note, that was probably the best lunch I have ever had anywhere in the line of duty for the college. We had steaks as big as my head. I don't normally measure a steak to my head, but it was huge. They really take care of their guys. And I think you could also help attest to this. We destroyed several plastic forks and knives that day. But thank you. In all sincerity, please, thank you for having us down there. It was great. We had a blast.
Well, hey, those guys were excited.
Yes.
That Florida Gateway was offering this, and they really couldn't believe for it to be free if they started.
Right. Yes.
So I was pleased for them to call me and ask, and I said, well, I talked to Dr. Barrett, and I said, this is going to be a great opportunity for the CDL. And he said he would have somebody there. So
yes, it was.
He did miss out on the steak, though, Dr. Barrett.
I did. That's in New York.
John June and Casey Strader also thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I enjoyed it.
And I couldn't finish the steak, so for help with it. So. Any questions?
A question for you on the rapid certification programs like phlebotomist. What does it take to encourage someone like that to come back into the college and to upgrade from that rapid certification to maybe, an LPN or CNA or something to that effect? Because they really didn't have like a big experience here. It was 6 weeks?
It's very quick. Yes, it's a very quick program. Yes, those are students that we're reaching back out to. We are saying, okay, they have their jobs now. They're seeing what's going on out there. How can they come back? Yeah, and enroll in those programs. So we are still working those lists and recruiting those students back. So yeah, get your RN now. You've
been in medical.
Yes.
You decided you liked it. You see everybody else making more money than you.
Yes, and in a way we look at it, this is some low-hanging fruit. We want you to come back. You know the school. You know us. Yeah, they're on our recruitment radar.
A question. Have you ever given a presentation for the CDL program in Union County?
We have not.
Okay. Maybe we need to make arrangements for that. That's the third largest employer in Union County is the trucking industry.
That's the truth. You
Pritchett
all have it.
Trucking.
We have three trucking companies, and
Yeah.
Pritchett and Liberty, and there's in Shad. So
Massive.
I'll see what I can.
Please.
And Liberty was Shad's daughter.
It's just a
Yeah.
massive
Liberty was
industry.
Shad's
Okay.
daughter, but they're three separate. Okay.
Sure, we'd love to get out there.
Cassie.
They all have signs in front of their businesses. We need drivers.
Yes, I see those everywhere. Yeah, you're
they
correct.
all
Yes.
of them do.
Okay, yeah, we'll get out there. A lunch is not required. We'll still come out. We'll be out there.
It might be hard beating steaks.
She set the bar high.
Go for the memory.
No, and also, yeah, we'd love to come out.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. Great job.
Thank you.
Mrs. Holloway, Business Services Report.
Hello, good evening, and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
I have my usual budget amendments to request approval on. The college request approval of budget amendment number 5 to the restricted current fund, Fund 2, for fiscal year 21-22. This amendment recognizes revised award authorization and new grants received in the 21-22 fiscal year.
Thank you so much. The board sees the item listed under Roman numeral 9B. What is the mind of the board as it is written?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mrs. Norris. Move to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you, Dr. Tepedino seconds. All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. The motion's carried.
Thank you. My next request is we're requesting approval of Fund 7, Budget Amendment 5, which has been revised so the report reflects actual revenue, revised budgeted expenditures, actual expenses, and updated projects through December 1st, 2021.
Board sees Roman numeral 9, C. As it is written, what is the mind of the board?
I'll make a motion to approve budget amendment number 5.
Dr. Cerncy makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Mrs. Allen seconds the motion on that. All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, the same sign. It's approved. That may be our shortest list of...
Well, I do have a few
Terrain.
updates. So,
You're not finished.
I'd like to update you on what's going on in the business services area right now. Our STEM building is progressing very nicely.
Great.
So the contractor is projecting that they may be complete by the building, or with the building by the end of March, barring any unforeseen circumstances.
Wow.
They
1
are
month or
chugging
2
right
weeks after we
along.
graduate.
It's insane. It's great. Furniture is going to be ordered next week for the entire building. That's a 14-week lead time, so hopefully we've timed it just right. So we will be asking you, maybe in the April meeting, let's take a tour of the STEM building.
Wow.
So that we're very excited
Who
about.
told you 14 weeks?
On the furniture company.
Like recently?
Yes.
Okay.
We just talked to her yesterday.
All right. Fingers crossed.
That's my
That's
worry.
right.
That's my worry thing.
Right, I know. And also the Mall Road, that's progressing very nicely as well. That's the road that's going in front of the new STEM building. That's going to mirror the road over here between 2 and us. We're hoping that that's going to be, the pavers are going to start being installed in the next week or so, and it's just taking, the pavers to get level and the finishing touches on that. So hopefully in the next 3 to 4 weeks, that project will be complete. You have any questions for me?
That's impressive.
Thank you.
That is
Thank you.
amazing.
Good job.
Thank you very
Amazing.
much.
Thank you so much. So much. It's a great job by everyone presenting tonight. Thank you so much. Wonderful. President's report.
So I'm going to go off script a little bit. The STEM building, I was actually climbed the ladder the other day. Had a little scary coming back down because there's no stairs, but I didn't tell risk management. But I did take a lot of pictures. It's unbelievable inside what's taking place. I mean, the drywall is up. It's just unbelievable. And remember, that's only phase 1 of the STEM building. Phase 2 will start next week with the architectural plans on the $6.5 million out there. And I've whispered to David right now, our change orders are $3,262.
That's incredible.
And so, I mean, it's unbelievable.
It is.
Wish the wall road was going better, but it's get there, don't worry. And the wall, one of the aspects that I want to try to do with the mall road is to have an iconic piece at the end, and I've asked the welding students to design a torch that will be lit at special events for this institution.
Wow.
So we'll get that done. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's just the STEM building is really, and it's going to be, there's been some thought. We've really worked hard on that. One of the other things is at the top of the building and staircase, there's a 15 by 22 wall that they want a mural. They wanted us to talk about a mural and we met together, a team of about 15 or 16, and I love murals, but as they get older, they die out after 10 years. So we're going to actually have a hologram that's actually we can change on a daily basis, 3D hologram at the top with 16 different cameras on that wall at the period of time to really show the technology of the institution. So I'm really excited about that. We'll have a huge grand opening of that. My hope was that we'd open it July 1st, which would mark the 75th, beginning of the 75th anniversary, which when we started classes here in 1947. So that's kind of special. But we might be in earlier. But it's unbelievable. So thank you so much for Mike Lee, Randy Thomas, Michelle. It's just been unbelievable. So thank you for that. I sent you all our highlights from last year. It was a challenging year, but it was a good year. I don't think it was a great year, but it was a good year. I wanted to formally welcome Dr. Gavin as the Vice President of Academic Affairs. With her is Matt Peace, who replaced Paula in that role. And I know some of you probably have read about Dr. Shane Neely-Smith. Dr. Shane had told us about 7 months ago she was retiring. She asked us to keep it silent, especially with all the issues and the challenges with nursing. And I'm happy to report we hired under the recommendation of Dr. Gavin and us meeting was Ann Brown. And I think Miguel probably has some history on that. Ann Brown, I wasn't here, can't take any credit, but Ann helped us so much to restore our EMT and paramedic program and restored it to national prominence and so forth. So I've asked her to be the executive director of both nursing and that program, and she's hit the road running this week. She's had some challenges that I'm not going to talk about, but she's already had some challenges. So
she's incredible. She's just cut the red tape, get to work, get things done, find a way to get it to be successful. Anything she touches turns to gold, and I feel like we need somebody who can be fair, and because their community we know has their finger on the pulse of our nursing program and all these other medical programs, and she's a pleasure to work with. I couldn't think of somebody better for that role, so she's wonderful.
And I also want to just thank you for letting me go to New York and missing one of the graduations. Graduation is the most important day of the year for me, so I wanted to thank you. But we've done now 44 of these in the last 19 months, individual ones that every student had an opportunity to walk across that stage. We're not going to do that anymore. Come May, we're going back to the gym. It's interesting because a lot of parents and so forth have said they like it this way, but we really need to do back traditional graduation and have everyone back to normal and so forth. But I'm just so proud of our staff of how they did graduations over that term. So I asked the media department to put together a 1 and 8-second video of our graduation to just show you how powerful it is. So let me see if this is going to work. I was hoping I didn't have to get up, but probably thought he had said it, so it didn't sleep. Here it is. It's about 20 seconds before the audio hits.
Graduates, if you be seated and the audience be seated, we have a special video presentation that I think you're all going to enjoy that was produced by our media center for you tonight. Ending of all the graduations we had, and they all got to see it. We had our video cameras panning the audience, so it was just very special for them and so forth. So I just thought it was
really good that we did that. And my speech was about how each of them was a candle. And so that's why. As we talk about Aspen, I might as well just do this from here. You all heard that we made the Aspen Top 150. Very important for this institution for a variety of reasons. But we really worked hard after getting named, because you have to work extremely hard to present data and narrative to the national office to see if you can be in the top 10 or top 1 that we want to aspire to. And most people say we'll never reach that, but that's our aspirational goal. It has been our aspirational goal. And we can go through all the data and so forth, but there's 2 slides that I think are really important. I'm selling you on this, but the thing is, there's some things we always have to improve. But these 2 data points I think is really important. We're based upon, now remember, we have lots of part-time students, so our part-time graduation rates are lower. I'm just going to be honest, but these are first-time students that graduated within the period of time. In 3 years, which is 3 years. I always say we should be 2 years. But when 2017, we were 40%, and in 2021, we were 56%. So even though we're declining somewhat enrollment, and that's not going to happen, right? We talk about it every day, because I'm not used to that. But it's everybody's job, and it's just the nature of what we're dealing with right now. But we got to make sure we understand that. But this is the most important slide, I think, of all. Is we did it by race and ethnicity. And that is where we've made the most significant improvement at the institution with black students, from 18% to 42%.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And when we looked at this data, we looked at some of the other schools that made the top 10 in Florida, and we're the only one the last 3 years that have increased our graduation rates. So I'm hopeful, but it's exciting for the institution because it aspires to what we need, and we're showing that we're doing what we're here to do.
Yep.
So that's great. Show you that. And I'll be done very quickly. I know you all want to get out of here.
You're going to show us a picture of you getting an award?
Yeah.
I have that video, but I'm not going to show you that.
I thought we had a transparent board.
Oh! Also, on that same note, I've been meeting with the Richardson Center team in Lake City, and David Krause and Travis Green have met with us. They have to help the underserved community of Lake City. We've made some really big inroads with Columbia County in that way. In addition, we are now going to be doing adult education classes in Dixie County. It's been without adult education, Catherine, I've been told, 11 years. So we're going to be doing that, and we hired a consultant from Baker County to do that. And she helped us get that on the road, and that's going to lead to tiered education in CNA, and hopefully going on to LPN and so forth in Dixie County. So we're going to start that next month. And we're also working with Dr. Cerncy staff, John Jewett, and bringing some technical education into that Gilchrist County Center in the fall. So we're excited about doing that. So it's just not happening here in Columbia County, but it's helping all of us. On a personal note, I was asked to run as a SACS trustee for the state of Florida. I was awarded that for 3 years, and it's important for this institution as we look at our accreditation that I'm one of the trustees on SACS for the state of Florida. I'm one of 5 in the state of Florida, so I'll be doing that. And the other issue is we've been meeting quite a bit with Santa Fe College. Paul Brody, their president, came here twice, and I've been down there to try to do some partnerships with Santa Fe, and he was kind of impressed with a couple of things we did, so I thought that was interesting. He wasn't giving me a line either. The thing is, he actually took pictures and everything. I was a little nervous about that. But on a negative note, and then I'll potentially leave it on a positive note, and it's because of a relationship with these people in this room and our communities. I received a call from Jill Adams, the CEO of Lake City Medical Center this morning, to give me a heads up for about big corporation announcement at HCA. And HCA about 1 o'clock announced today that they had bought a college, an online college called Galen College of Nursing, that has about 7,000 students nationally, and they announced they're doing a campus, an actual physical campus in Gainesville, Florida. And that will happen next year. So that's going to put some pressure. We've been on the phone with Paul and I. It's going to be, there may be some opportunity, but there may be some challenges with that, with clinical space and potentially BSN programs, promotion, because if they own it, there's some issues there. So we're looking at different options in regards to that. And we have been approached quite a bit about the Lakeshore Hospital building in Lake City, the Ruvar, and many conversations have happened. If we get serious at all with those conversations, I will call an emergency meeting with you and see and lay it. There's some positives to it. It's a huge risk. I'm a little risk averse. I like to try to take on challenges, but I'm not sure that will be the challenge I want to do. But there is some potential there, and we could be the anchor of a big opportunity for with grants and so forth down there. So I just wanted to all let you know that situation. So that's my report. I'm sorry I took up so much of your time. It's going to be a busy year as usual, but we have a lot of work to do, and we're going to get going doing that right now.
Great. All right. Any questions about the president's report?
I have a question, a follow-up question, and maybe I missed it in a report. I don't remember getting an end-of-year report. Is that, do they go to a different email? I need to go back and check the Florida Gateway email probably.
Yeah, I had trouble sending to yours because yours is a little, I usually send it to both the private one and the, but I had, for some reason, we went through a Microsoft Outlook change, and it was a pretty long report.
I apologize if you already covered this, but okay, after our last meeting, we certainly had a lot of questions about, some of the things that were going on. There was a potential campus that was being discussed from another institution that was, really outside of the purview of what we thought was appropriate. So can you give us an update on that?
Actually, that was number 3, and I skipped it over, Suzanne. So I apologize.
That's all right.
So the work with the city and the county has been ongoing. I and the staff are really working hard to try to develop a relationship and a partnership with them that's collegial and so forth. In fact, today I met with Councilman Sampson from the city as one of, I'm trying to meet with all the city and county people. What I can tell you is we are very close to a land swap, that land swap that we talked about at that joint meeting. It's in the attorney's hands, and at this point, Marlon, I'll just be very upfront, the descriptions of the land from way back when are not very good. So we need to get them tightened up before we do the land swap on both ends. So.
Yeah, I understand they're looking for descriptions, and looking at the old deed, it's obvious there has been a survey on 2 of those parcels, and I pointed that out to the city, and they said they would look, and somebody reported they thought they had found some. If we find it, we can avoid the expense of a survey, which will take time and money. If we don't find it, we probably need to go ahead and concept anyway.
Yep. And we thought we had that at the beginning, so it's been, and with another change in city manager, we had a very good relationship, which we're going to have a good relationship with Mr. Dial, who's the 3rd interim city manager in 3 months, or 4 months, okay. And Mr. Williams, in fact, today he was having some back surgery, and he had told me to say hello to everybody. And the thing is so that is progressing. The water and sewer lines, we are now going back and forth. That's pretty close too, but we've gotten close before. But we are actually doing are we doing the testing still, if you want?
Yes, we're doing the ground penetrating radar to map out exactly where the main lines are and the buildings, where it goes to the buildings.
Because what we want to end up having in that meeting is that these are their lines, and the building lines are ours. And let's finish it once and for all and be done with it after 52 years of this shenanigans. That's my goal. I want to get that done this year more than anything. And then the other issue is the school. Trustee Norris asked me to write a pretty thorough explanation to the county, asking them some questions. I didn't write that thorough one, but it was a 2-pager, and basically was told that they don't have that information. So, but I have been working with the state, and I do not believe, but I do not want this college to be considered the obstructionist of that. But at this period of time, what was presented, I do not believe, based on my conversations with the Department of Education and DOO, that will happen, what was presented. And we are working to try to do a real educational facility that the college is the leader on rather than vice versa. So, I mean, but that's still, it's going to take that's going to take probably till the next session, quite frankly, I will tell you. So, does that answer some of your questions, Suzanne? Do you want more? I can get even more specific if you.
That's fine, it's perfect.
So, okay.
Okay, all minds relieved. I would like to say two things. First of all, on behalf of the board, congratulations, Dr. Dale. Well-deserved, well-earned, great. Good for us. And yay you. And we are so glad that Catherine McGinnis is here with us and healthy and well.
Thank you. I wanted to say something. I just appreciate all of your prayers, your calls to Dr. Barrett, checking on me. I was in the hospital 8 days with pneumonia, but hey, I got out there and I'm doing great. So.
You look great. You look like you never had a sick day in your life.
Well, thank you.
And you certainly enhanced my prayer life during that period of time, and it needed it.
Well, I thank you. I'd like to say one other thing. Went to a foundation meeting Tuesday, and I was glad to serve back on that. Appreciate you electing me to be on that. But I want to tell you, we have, and I know each one of you know this, but when our president when he's put on the spot or when he's not put on the spot, he does an excellent job. And I was just so pleased at the foundation office, or their meeting, and he's great. His heart is in Florida Gateway College.
That's a high note, Dan Dawn.
That's a good note.
There you go. All minds relieved. We have a motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All right, that's all we need. Don't even have to vote on it.
Have an interesting meeting.